Hello, everyone. I'm Dave. I'm a TI. I'm here with Maria again. She's got the results from her scan to come share today. And I'm going to turn it over to her and be asking her questions. We are going to share the screen, so be patient with us. So, Maria, how you been?
I've been doing good. The first thing I want to say is I want to thank you, David, for sharing your videos and being such a great activist and getting this information out to everybody and trying to get it out to the general population. I also want to send a thank you to Roy E. Cups for also doing the same. Without the testimonies, without the research, and without the evidence, most of us victims will remain victims. I've been a targeted individual since 2016. I've been assaulted, raped, human trafficked, held hostage through electronic devices, and spent a good portion of my life for the last decade to not only prove my claims, but prove the claims of the victims. So I have,
Before we
uh,
start, we did. People's been asking me what happened to Ryan from CSI. Could you kind of tell what you know?
so we had
Cognitive
lost.
investigative services is what I'm talking about.
So yeah, David helped me accumulate victims for a class action lawsuit. Ryan Michelle was our investigator from Cognitive Investigative Service. He is now missing. I don't know 100% for sure missing, but I know his website's down. I know his cell phone's not activated. Um,
The
and
screen.
and I haven't heard from him since June 6th. The last time I talked to him, he told me Todd was wanting as many victims as we can accumulate for the class action lawsuit. It has turned into a worldwide class action lawsuit against the 5Gs. Um, the last time I heard from him, I was sharing it on Targeted Justice, um, volunteers, and under PAX International volunteers in their conference call, and all of a sudden in August, his cell phone went down and his website went down. Um, but there still is a link to go to Todd's website to pre-register for the class action lawsuit for the victims. And it is
Now,
worldwide.
now, has Todd heard from Ryan? Nobody's heard
I'm
from him, right?
I don't talk directly with Todd, even though I still share the class action lawsuit.
Oh, okay.
But nobody's heard from him. Everybody I
Wow.
talked to has not heard from him. So I'm going to make some really strong statements and claims. And I noticed that a lot of the whistleblowers that have a lot of evidence and it has done a lot of research has either gone missing or winded up dead. So just know that I shared my evidence with multiple TIs so they could also back their claims. If anything does happen to me, no, I did not die of natural medical causes. So, what the victims are all experiencing, these are our vital organs they're attacking. Um, our perpetrators were contracted out by the feds on medical research, universities, and DARPA, and military to purposely cause harm to the victims. They're hired contractors, so they accepted the bribe to commit these crimes against the victims. All the victims are getting assaulted with directed energy weapons and particle beam weapons and have foreign bodies inside their bodies, known as biosensors, Neuralink, um, that are Bluetooth and Wi-Fi access. These particle beam weapons and beam weapons, directed energy weapons, are handheld weapons through un unmanned vehicles like drones or the human terrain teams. Now, a lot of these victims, a lot of the assaults, the slander campaigns, the victims will never heal from. A lot of us have been victimized for over a decade, some a little less. We experience slander campaigns, tracking, tracing, RFID chips, assaults. We're human trafficked against our will, electronic harassments, implanted with devices to permanently mutilate our bodies. Our brain is our most valuable organ in our body. It controls every other organ. It controls our bodily function, and that's what they're targeting. What I have learned throughout my research and my own experiences that we're used as the distraction as they link everybody up to permanent remote surveillance. This is dual medical weaponized research. So the weaponized aspect proves and states that they're intentionally causing us harm. Whether it is medical harm, psychological harm, social, economic, or mental harm. These devices claimed us as property. It allows them to track, trace us, and hold us hostage through these devices. We are being human trafficked against our will, whether it's sexually, physically, abusively, or just, it's some of the most extensive abuse that a person, there is no shielding. There is no protection. We are denied protection through local law enforcement. We're denied proper medical treatment. Our medical facilities are covering it up, and I will go in a little more in depth on how they are covering it up. A lot of the victims have spent an undisclosed amount of money to prove their claims or, obtain evidence, and are still unable to go anywhere with this. I have been blessed to speak with a lot of victims, and this is mind control. You are being controlled by another human operator. They are making you hackable to be controlled.
And I think
And
I
then,
seen on Redacted the other day, eventually, and this is maybe a few years ahead, but eventually, even if you think a negative thought, you will be prosecuted for it.
yes.
That's where it's going.
Well, with this V2K, a lot of people don't know this voice to skull technology, this V2K that a lot of people, this is federally owned and federally issued.
I
It's also
suffer with that 24/7.
me too. It is synthetic telepathy, it's ventriloquist, it's mind reading and mind control. Not only did the government launch this on the people to read remotely what's going on in their mind, but they could also control it. And what they do is disassemble and reassemble your DNA to allow manipulate the molecules on a molecular level. So not only can they read from the living brain, but they can also write into it. So David's helping me put together an evidence video, and I know I shouldn't share this until I go to court, but I want this out there so people know that these claims are not just claims. These people are not schizophrenic. They're not crazy.
Right.
In the program, we are known as the target. And the reason why we're known the target, because it's weaponized research. So the government has to give you a distraction and an excuse to keep you entertained while they steal your freedom, steal your privacy. They're linking everybody up to this. This not only affects us, but everyone, and even more so our future generation. Without hiring these contractors to commit these crimes, they can't enforce laws to take our freedom. And what they're keeping you distracted with is the abuse of another targeted individual, these slander campaigns, these smear campaigns. This is permanent harm. Some of us will never recover from this. And it's so abusive, it's so disgusting that you have grown men that are doing this for research and acting like children and getting it's like another addiction. So I mean, not only are we put on display while we're getting electronically raped, abused, getting tortured, getting our vital organs attacked until they shut down, and then the doctors are writing it off as natural medical causes. So I went to the extreme. My first scan was a nonlinear junction scan. I had a full body scan by an investigator not known in the TI community. And basically scanned everything in my body. So we could prove the IMSI catcher, which is also known as the Stingray Pegasus. They're all federally issued. This is how they're hijacking our cell phones and trafficking us, because these people are making money off of us. They are my perpetrators are being the CIA is monitoring and moderating and paying these people to commit these crimes and human traffic us. And not to mention, anytime you're implanted with the tracking devices, they're claiming you as property, which is very known into human trafficking victims. So my very first scan, and mind you, in 2016, I went and saw a doctor at Shands Hospital, and he told me that he's not allowed to look for him or identify them without a warrant because they were federal property. Because I kept going to the ER, trying to look for these devices. And thank God they hit me so hard that I thought they did brain damage. And this is why a lot of the victims end up with Havana syndrome or minor brain injuries, is because they are attacking our brains. And these devices build biofilms, so you end up with tumor or cancers. We are getting hit with microwave energy radiation. So, David, if you like to merge some of the pictures and videos, I will be more than happy to explain them.
Okay. And I'm going to tell you something. Look up a video when you get a chance. Look up the history of garlic. 2 cloves a day. You have to press it. You have to get a garlic press. Get garlic. 2 cloves in the morning before you eat anything. You press the garlic. You wait 8 or 9 minutes before you eat it, and then that's because the allicin is the powerful thing in the garlic that detoxes you from heavy metals. I've been doing it for a month and a half, and I'm feeling a lot better. Um, and then I watched a video the other day on the history of garlic. Garlic used to be used as a money. It used to be, that's how valuable it was back in the day. It had all kinds of uses. So that's something to check into, because it seems like the more you keep your body clean of these metals through garlic and stuff, the better you feel. You're not going to feel 100%. Still going to get hit, and I still hear V2K, but I feel a lot better,
All right.
each day. And you're right about them being childish operators. My V2K says stupid stuff sometimes, like, "Hey, Mr. Smiley Pants." I mean, that's just childish. Whoever's operating that's, why would they even say that? You
All
know?
right.
So I'm gonna
And
share this.
this is the other thing I want to mention. This STEM program launched in all the schools. And the STEM program is short for brainstem research. These are all neurotechnologies that's been utilized as weapons against the victims. So every child in America is going to be neurohuman trafficked and electronically stimulated, just like the targeted victims. So if you don't think this is going to affect you or affect our future generation, it's already has. What David is showing you right now is a list of U.S. patents of directed energy weapons and symptomologies of what a lot of the victims are experiencing. So this is proof of the technology actually existing. And I've also looked up a lot of the cognitive patents, which is cognitive is our way of thinking, our brain, how we interact. So this is available on several sites. This is available on targeted justice sites. This is on a lot of the targeted individuals sites. These are the symptoms that we experience, and this is proof of the technology that does exist. So if anybody wants to look these up, you can see them.
Yeah, this one says, like, just for example, this says alters mood, emotion, sleep state via remotely applied frequency and wave form, beam form, and same thing. Just, that's just one thing. And like she said, you could find them on websites and stuff.
And mind you, this is showing that you could be hackable to another human operator. which is a form of slavery. Anytime that you are forced to do something against your will, whether it's remotely directed energy weapons, you, that's slavery.
Look at this one. It says controls brain state by placing engineered EMF patterns into the AC wiring of a building. Wow. There was a time when I would vibrate hard when the air conditioner would come on. I would get hit 10 times worse. Remember that, Holly? Huh.
Oh, they populate my heart.
You heard that? It says control brain state by placing engineered EMF patterns into the AC wiring of a building. Go ahead, Maria.
They've populated my heart. They give me brain fog. They've wiped out memories. The sexual stimulation. They'll swell up my hand. They'll stop my breathing, induce coughing, move my muscles, move my eyes. They'll shoot my L4 and L5 that they've actually crushed my disc. They fractured my skull here where they shot something straight through my head. They'll give you partial blindness, holograms, synthetic hallucination, subliminal messaging, earthquakes, a shake profusely, dropping your blood sugar, dropping your heart rate, elevating your heart rate, 4.5 years of electronic rapes that I have 3 tumors in my uterus now. I got damage to one of my heart chambers where they're shooting my heart. I don't know the amount of damage they've done to my brain where they're shooting my head, but you'll get to see images of my brain and the foreign bodies. I actually found a video that tells you what those devices are and shows you what they are. And then I actually shared a link about the biocenters and what they're capable of doing, and proves the experiences that the victims are doing.
All right. And I'm going to read a couple of these just real quick. Allows information to be remotely conveyed to subject via electromagnetic waves. Apparatus and method for remotely monitoring and altering a target's brain waves. Subliminal manipulations of subjective motions via remotely directed audio waves. Weapon with integrated targeting system to locate targets, damage and disrupts electronics. Method and device for producing a desired brain state via magnetic waves. Pulsated manipulation of the central nervous system, and that's just a few.
And that's your free will. That's stealing a person's free will.
And so, are we ready to go to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see if I can figure out how to do this. Okay. Hold on one second. Y'all be patient, please. Let's see. Wow. Okay. It's looking like it's going to make me go to Messenger again. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. All right, I'm here. Okay, see. Now I got to share the screen. Okay.
And I wanted to encourage people that have family and friends that don't believe them and their experience. The reason why I'm also sharing my evidence, so one, it'll help you to obtain your own evidence, but two, that you could show to your family and friends that are gaslighting you or disbelieve you that this technology does exist, and this is somebody that is experiencing similar experiences as you, similar torture tactics, similar human trafficking tactics, that you could show that this technology does exist, and these are the things that you kind of look for as a victim. So and these are also available. I mean, there's so much research with Dr. James Giordani openly admitting to these and then contradicting it when he goes on to media coverage. But and you could find these on the militaryDefense.org as well. But as a victim that is being experimented on against her will and purposely being murdered in every aspect of her life. So go down to the photos of the where they're hijacking my cell phone.
Uh,
Or
mm,
wait, go to the diagram from DARPA. So this is straight off of Dr. James Giordani's videos. These are the areas of the body that they attack or stimulate electronically. And when I say attack, because it's uninvited, it's against our will, and these are where the biosensors are placed for these weapons to stimulate our body to get us to get a response. These are our vital organs. This is our nervous system. This is how they're manipulating our body and intentionally causing harm to the victims without their consent. These biosensors are put in place, so it's a two-way communication device. It receives signals and transmits signals. So this is straight off of DARPA's videos, Dr. James Giordani's, and it's showing you the body network that they're attacking on the victims.
wow. Yeah, brain, cortical. The cortical is very important because you release a lot of cortisone in your fight or flight.
And this, and they're not only experimenting on the targeted victims, they're experimenting on the whole population, on how easily the population could be manipulated, deceived, and contend against another individual that they don't know. They have no idea what's going on. They're just ran this narrative by these hired contractors to be manipulated and deceived to contend and weaponize and attack another individual. So if you don't think you're part of the experiment, you are. If
Yep.
you could hear them, you're getting hit with directed energy weapons. If you
Yep.
see them, you know they're committing crimes and you're turning a blind eye. This could be you at any given time.
Right. Yep. Mm.
And the fact that you're not getting these people off the streets, where do you think the crimes are going to? How is this going to affect our future generation? How is this affecting your freedom? They're convincing you to give up your rights permanently to remote viewing. They're
And
not
if you
telling you, the feds ain't going to ask you again. They're showing you what they're linking you up to with the targeted victims.
Right. And if you want to do a little test, it's not really a big thing to prove. It don't prove much, but me and Holly were talking about, well, we need a toy to keep our cats busy because, we don't have time to play with them sometimes. And I swear, I open Facebook up and all these toys start popping up showing cats, keeping cats busy without needing, and I had never searched that or nothing. I was just talking about it as soon as I opened up.
Right.
So your devices are listening, showing you ads based on what you talk about or think.
Now, I do know all these biosensors are Bluetooth accessible, and that's the reason why they're hijacking the cell phones. So your biosensors communicate with your cell phones. Your cell phones communicates to the Wi-Fi towers, the 5G towers, which links everybody up to one solid network. The biosensors are already inside your body. They're inhalables, ingestibles, and what I'm not allowed to say. So they get into your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, reaches your blood-brain, get into your bloodstream and reaches your blood-brain barrier. They build insight on site too, meaning they assemble inside your body.
Yes. It's very important to be taking multivitamins, and any supplement that might help because even Putin said in Russia, if you get caught growing genetically engineered foods, you're known as a terrorist and you get locked up and killed in Russia. So, and then he made the comment, there's no nutrients in the food in America. So that means and these weapons will make you vitamin deficient. That's why it's important to find a good multivitamin and keep vitamins in you.
Well, You know, if you go read the NASA 2001 War document for 2025's agenda, which is now, they already deemed our perpetrators as domestic terrorism within the continental United States. And it talks about this technology. It tells you in 2001, they've already declared what they were going to do to the whole population.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you go look up, you know, Dr. James Giordani from Georgetown University, the head of neuroscience, the head of DARPA, the head of military defense, the head of bioethics. You know, if we don't stand together and say, no, we don't want this. We don't want you invading our privacy. We don't want you invading our personal property, our bodies with this technology. They're all the laws, and they're just going to continue to do whatever they want. You know, we don't think because it hasn't affected us negatively yet. The only ones it's affecting negatively right now is the victims, the targeted victims.
Yep.
Yes. And, you know, our ancestors died to fight for our freedom, to give us the freedom that we've been able to experience and enjoy, to not, you know, even the Holocaust, you know. So this right here is in my eyes. I have 2 nanotechnologies implanted inside my eyes. And then I have 3 different lenses. This is a camera inside my eyes. They have full
Now, did they
control.
find something on the scan right there?
No, I actually went to an eye doctor 2 days before this.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote me a prescription for trifocals. This is a day after I got my first scans in Tennessee. And the only way we capture this is we took a short video, and they were trying to show another targeted victim what was inside my eyes and how they are seeing through our eyes, and how they're seeing everything we're doing, how they're moving our eyeballs, how they're doing the holograms, how they're seeing, you know, everything. Now, mind you, they're watching you naked. They're watching all your daily interactions, who you talk to, who you're communicating with. And so these are cameras. These are, now I have a clear lens. Like I still have these brown ones, and I have a light brown one. So there's 3 different ones that move around in my eyes, which is probably the reason why the doctor wrote me a prescription for trifocals. My perpetrators were there at my eye appointment, so he knew what was in my eyes. In another image, you will see the 2 devices inside my eyes that allows. This is part of my nonlinear junction scans. This is a thermal scan, and the only reason why he documented my thermal scans because my body was elevated 2 degrees higher than the rest of the group. These are hot spots at that time. This is where I was getting attacked a lot.
So what's the red, what's the green, what's the yellow?
The white is the hottest areas. The
Okay.
yellow and the blue are the coolest areas. But
Okay.
these are the hottest levels.
Wow. So you got one right here under your arms, right here. Let me see if I can blow it up better so you can explain it. Is all these the same pitch? No, they're not. Okay. Uh, I'll start over here with this one. So, can you see that good, Maria?
Yes, sir. So he documented my thermal readings because I was reading 2 degrees higher than everybody else. And this is the first scan I've got. So this is part of my nonlinear junction scans. He scanned my vehicle. He scanned my body with multiple devices. Took a took over. It took a couple hours. Um, a lot of the things that he scanned my body wasn't giving signals because they had to have the devices on, but 100% of the time, and most of the victims we showed up on was the nonlinear junction scans, which shows semiconductors, circuitry, ferrous materials, stuff like that. Um, and you could show a video of what that actually consists of. I do have the videos of it, um, of the areas that had positive hits and that I complained of pain.
Okay, let me see. And you wouldn't recommend if a target's going to spend their life savings on a scan, don't do that, right? Don't deplete your resources like that, right? Or would you recommend it?
I would recommend it. I would
I mean,
definitely
what can you
recommend.
actually do with this stuff when you get it?
Well, these are pieces. So if you're planning to take it to court, these are pieces of the pie to prove your claims. So I will tell you, the doctors will not acknowledge your experiences. Okay. So this is a non-linear junction scan. This is him scanning my body. Um,
Eh,
the green. This is my lower back, my butt, where I have radiation burn scars, where they were attacking my butt. So he's showing you the positive hits,
wow,
and he's not affiliated with the targeted community. He is not a target.
right. Is this Utah?
No, this
And
was
if you
done
want
in
to keep,
Tennessee. This
okay,
was done in Tennessee. He's actually out of Michigan.
okay, all
And
right.
I paid, I'm not gonna lie, I paid $650 for these scans.
Right. And see, I don't see, I disagree. I think if a target's going to use their resources and not be able to pay their rent just to get a scan, then they might end up homeless or whatever, you know?
Well, that's the thing. A lot of these victims, and this is what I'm concerned about, because, a lot of these victims are jobless, they are homeless, they are permanently disabled due to this technology. Um, you know, because they're causing physical, medical, psychological, um, harm to these victims. A lot of them can't function hardly anymore. And these scans are very expensive. I'm not gonna lie, I've gone nearly broke
Hmm.
trying to prove my claims, but I deemed it necessary because none of my I was getting improperly diagnosed, and none of the doctors would even research it. This is the fracture on my front of my skull where they shot me with a beam weapon and fractured the front of my skull.
Wow.
That is actually right here.
And so it'd be
So
right here, right?
these weapons do uh, crush your bones. They do cause permanent damage. They do fracture. They crush your disc. They do tissue damage and stuff like this. And now, mind you, I had all these MRIs, and not one doctor acknowledged. And I walked in there and told the doctor I was being attacked with directed energy weapons, and they were responding to receivers in my body. And I was dizzy. I was shaking profusely. The minute my MRIs came back, a hospital threw me out of the hospital. Wouldn't even acknowledge the foreign bodies in my body,
Wow.
knowing my perpetrators
And
were
see,
physically attacking me.
I got bullet shrapnel in my eye, so I can't get an MRI. Can I still get scanned?
Yes,
Okay.
you can still get an MRI. Now,
Oh
I
no,
will tell you,
they won't touch my MRI. They say an MRI will pull a bullet shrapnel out of my eye and possibly blind me.
well, I have those implants in my eyes, and it didn't pull them out of my eyes.
Oh, okay.
So, and
Well,
there's
no,
two
because
of
they're
them.
biodegradable. They're biodegradable. The implants,
Right.
they're organic implants, so they're not going to be metal, something that could be magnetic.
And I have this dermal, you know what I mean? It's still got an MRI. So, you can still get, CT scans and MRIs is where most of these devices are showing up.
Right.
Ultrasounds.
And so he's doing your hands right here, right?
Yeah. They were attacking my hands. I woke up to a puncture wound on my hand, and they were attacking my hands to make it shake or swell it up. You'll end up with double dots. Those are the pulsating beam weapons. They shoot out one white light and red light, and they do turn corners. So they were attacking my hand pretty hard, and he's showing you where I was complaining about pain and issues. So he's showing you on the video that there was something there receiving that these weapons were turning.
That's more patents.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of patents. Now, what is
Now
this?
this is the Neuralink. This
Okay,
is the
what's this
Neuralink.
thing right here?
This is my brain. This is an image of my brain. So that is a sensor with a wire going down to my brain. This is the Neuralink. And I found a video recently showing you exactly what that device is. And this is an MRI showing you evidence of it. This is my
Right.
brain.
Now, if you go get scanned and you don't have nothing, and don't mean you're not being attacked, they have ways to do this without having anything in your body. I'm just going to clear that
Absolutely.
up.
Well, some of these biosensors are, like I said, on a molecular level. They could disassemble and reassemble.
Right. Okay. Let's see. Go
This
to
is
the next.
also an image of my brain, and what you see, um, squares don't naturally form in your body, and you could see the square on my brain, and that would be the little dot. These are, like I said, these are biosensors all over your brain. This is also one of the images. They gave me my MRIs, didn't think I knew how to go through them. And my perpetrators were screaming profusely. Of course, they were in the ER. And the reason why they threw me out the minute my MRIs came back, because they were trying to Baker Act me. And I told them I was part of a class action lawsuit. This is my investigator. These are the things I'm experiencing.
And they did
As
that remotely, didn't
soon,
they?
yeah. And as soon as my MRI came back, they threw me out of the hospital. They didn't file a police report. They didn't have my perpetrators arrested. Nothing. These are some of the frequencies that showed up through my first scans that he couldn't determine whether or not it was specifically coming from my body, but they showed up.
Right.
So he documented these specific frequencies.
1.9746 gigahertz. Huh. Okay. And
And this is
this
his,
is showing that she got scanned.
yeah, this is his final report showing that there was some foreign bodies inside my body that was transmitting and receiving signals.
Do you want me to read the findings?
Yeah.
It says Wi-Fi and FM bands are often used to hide signals at commonly active bandwidths. I used persistence mode on the MESA to investigate these signals, and no threat was detected. I went through all frequencies in great depth to investigate any signals that stood out. All sources were not coming from Maria's body, and determined all sources were not to be a threat. The signals that stood out were investigated and determined. Now, why does it say it not to be a threat?
Because he wasn't 100% sure. I was one out of 300 people that he scanned. Now, in
Right.
the video, the semiconductors, those were the RF scans that he couldn't prove that were actually 100% coming from my body. But the nonlinear junction, he was stating that the semiconductors were placed inside my body.
Right. I'm sure he's got to watch what he says too, don't he?
Mm-hmm.
Because he don't. Um. And so it just says it's, and let's see, I scan, operate, and use various settings on the deck of the apartment. Her gets a strong signal that is on her head, spine, hands, and legs that is consistent with electronic components. Wow. It says video sent separately shows that in you is receiving readings in Maria's shoulders, heads, and spine. And so so that's weird because when I was in the hospital in 2022, they went in my spine twice for like 30 minutes at a time. One time they said they were taking fluids to test them for an infection in my spine. The next time they said they were putting fluids in for a CT scan.
Now, mind you, this was an investigator that was not affiliated with the TI community and didn't know what we were all going through. So, I mean, he was, he doesn't do body scans anymore, but he does scans homes. He's not affiliated with he doesn't know what we go through. He doesn't know, what is all consisted in the targeting community whatsoever. He's not affiliated with the TI community. Coming up, finding that there is electronic components inside my body. This was the
Right.
first scan I got.
Right. And he says the readings indicate possible electronic circuits. Also says the pictures were taken using FLIR8 to look for any heat buildup under skin from a device within the body. Took multiple readings. The 98.6 seemed to be a little higher than the rest of the other readings. So how many have you got? You've got scanned multiple times, hadn't you?
Yes, the other one I got scanned was the RF scans, the preliminary scans by Jesse Beltram, which he specifically scanned for nothing but signals.
Right. What is this right here?
These are the nanotechs inside my eyeballs. Those two squares
Right
are
here?
yes, are how the lenses move around in your eyes.
Wow.
This is them using an IMSI catcher, also famously known as a stingray, to hijack every cell phone around you, to remotely human traffic you, organize your gang stalking, organize the criminal activities, organize your attacks, put you on display, and how your perpetrators are communicating with your community mob stalking. This is my cell phone.
And this is everything connected to them, right?
Yes, and this is just one out of several days.
So all these
So
devices are connected to your cell phone.
yes, sir, and they're
Wow.
connected to all the biosensors inside my body.
Wow.
And you can download AirGuard, turn your Bluetooth on, run your AirGuard for a while, and that will show you how. Oh, sorry, I did not mean to send you that.
Oh, right here. Let me get out of here.
Um,
All right. And so we pretty much covered it all, didn't we?
nope, you haven't got to Jesse Beltram's scans.
Oh, okay. Well, here, let me go quickly through here. Oh, okay. I think this is it, ain't it?
I think so. The final report.
Okay. The initial scan conducted proved frequency activity around the following anatomical areas of Mrs. Maria Smith: frontal lobe area, right temporal mandibular joint area, left temporomandibular joint area, left clavicle area, right shoulder area, left shoulder area. Okay, let's see. The clavicle area, high frequency, 378 megahertz, falls within the UHF, commonly used for military encrypted communications, tactical operations, and aerospace telemetry. Also associated with classified intelligence transmissions. Various government agencies could use this frequency communications involving homeland security, emergency preparedness, and coordination of different services. The part of UH can be used for telemetry tracking, command communications with aircraft, spacecraft, particularly by agencies involved in space exploration and aviation. Scientific research institutions, universities might use the frequencies for experiments involving remote sensing, wireless communication, research, and other scientific studies. Low frequencies, 85 hertz falls within the VHF spectrum, often linked to covert tracking and government communication networks. Universities and research could potentially use these frequencies for experiments involving radio communications or telemetry, especially in fields like environmental monitoring, wildlife tracking, or geological studies. Shoulder area, high frequency, used for military and law enforcement. Frequencies are utilized for special intelligence operations and secure government transmissions. Wow. Okay, see. Okay, see. The follow-up scan measured both high and low frequencies as RF signal strength. So her frontal lobe area, which would be your brain, right? The front of your brain,
Yep.
falls within the ultra-high frequency range used for military and encrypted communications, aerospace, telemetry, and classified intelligence. Frequency allocated for covert surveillance and advanced tracking technologies. And once again, universities and research might use frequencies for specific experiments. Aerospace and defense, the military and aerospace might use such frequencies for communication with unmanned aerial vehicles and for other specialized communication. The low frequency on her frontal lobe falls within VHF, also associated with covert tracking, classified government telemetry. Universities and research could use this frequency for scientific data collection and telemetry, especially environmental studies and remote sensing projects. Let's see. Falls within high frequency. Let's see what this is. It don't say. You think this is your clavicle? The last one? It says whatever it is, it falls between another military communications, UHF frequencies, and, including those around, are often reserved for military use due to their effectiveness and something reliable communication over varied terrain. This can include tactical communication, data links, and other secure military operations. Frequently allocated for covert aerospace defense applications. Frequency and range may be used for communication with unmanned aerial vehicles as well as aerospace. Wow, another scientific research. The conclusion identified localized radio frequency emissions near specific anatomical regions is considered anomalous and warrants further investigation. However, these do not inherently confirm the presence of embedded electronic devices. Additional methodologies such as nonlinear junction imaging studies and shielding are recommended. A video recording is provided with the support. Are we going to keep going?
Yes.
Okay. So where are we here? Oh, is this the nonlinear right here?
No, this is part of the RF scans.
Oh, localized RF were identified at specific reference points. The anatomical regions referenced below. Well, let's see. It's gained attention to evidence by the Department of Homeland Security on May 8, 2024, which addressed anomalous health incidents occurring within the United States. While no definitive casualty has been established, RF-related phenomena have been noted in various case reports. The object of the assessment was to conduct an RF emission scan focused on the narrow atomic to determine whether any RF signals could be detected.
And mind you, anonymous health incidents is also known as Havana syndrome.
Right. So frontal lobe area, right? Oh, I've done read that part. Let's see. I think we've done read that one. Let's see. Charlotte document presents finding from a preliminary radio frequency assessment conducted on January 19, 2025 in Virginia. The object was to detect local RF emissions in proximity to Maria Smith using RF detection instrument. Assessment is purely investigative in nature and does not constitute a medical evaluation, diagnosis, or treatment. Let's see. JM, general frequency detector, this device. Oh, it's just telling what they're doing, right?
Right.
So it's okay. Obtain a non-linear junction scan, how it works. Okay. Biography. All right. This is yours right here, ain't it?
Yes.
So you see the number. That's what it's letting off. Her left clavicle area is letting off 85 megahertz. Tracking and surveillance telemetry. You see CIA Special Activity Centers. That's what it's communicating with, right?
Yes.
Harvard.
those are who own the frequencies that were being transmitted out of my body.
Right. Harvard Remote Sensing Center, Zurich Signal Processing Lab, right shoulder area, 88 megahertz, emergency response, telemetry, encrypted defense relay, National Guard Bureau, DHS, Department of Homeland Security Integrated Operations, Northwestern RF Analytics Group, Stanford IoT Security Research. Wow. Left shoulder area, tactical VHF, surveillance field network relay, U.S. Army Intelligence and Security Command, INSCOM, and FBI Counterterrorism Division. Brown University, Electromagnetic Imaging Lab, Columbia University, Department of Electrical Engineering. These frequencies are all communicating with her devices in her body or sensors. You want me to read this other stuff?
Yeah, if you want to.
It says the identification of RF and their specifics considered anonymous and warrants further investigation. Maria Smith's presentation based on her survey responses is consistent with other survey responses where Havana syndrome, anonymous health incidences, or electrosensitivity of suspected phenomenon. However, these detections do not inherently confirm the presence of embedded electronic devices. Additional methodologies such as nonlinear detection shielded are recommended. And he has to put that in there, don't he? Don't
Yeah,
he
he puts in his recommendation. He's not a medical researcher or anything like that. So like I said, I have already had the nonlinear junction scans prior to this. So that proves the circuitry in my body. And there's one more image of my brain I would like you to show, and that shows the nanotechnology and the tracking device, the foreign bodies. Now, mind you, I've been to a doctor and got thrown out of the hospital the minute they located these devices. All right. So your medical facilities are participating in it. All your major medical research universities are participating in it, and your military are participating in it, and the FBI and the CIA are the cover-up artists. Like I said, these are very strong claims. We are non-consensual human experimentations. I went out of my way to do a lot of research. There is a lot of research to back these claims. And this right here is the tracking device and the nanotech inside my head. This is on the back right side of my head. This is my first attempt was June 13th, 2016. I went to the ER. A river opened up in the back of my head is when they implanted this RFID chip. And that is a tracking device. You know, this proves you're being trafficked. You're human trafficked. And we're being human trafficked by our local government, and you're being claimed as property. This square above my head is a nanotech that is putting off RF signals, radio frequency. So this is in the back of my head. All right. A river opened up in the back of my head. This is the devices I was searching for in 2016 that the doctor at Shands Hospital told me he's not allowed to look for and not allowed to remove without a warrant because they were federally issued. And he bluntly told me that after probably my 10th attempt of
so you
going
can't
to
get it. Wow.
Now, when you go to the doctor and you're trying to describe your claims over your medical experiences, the medical harm that you're committing, do not say you're hearing voices. You know, you're hearing ringing in the ears, tendonitis, medical terms. That's why a lot of these victims are being referred to psychological evaluation, which is further medical research and experimentation, so they could give you drugs to enable or inhibit your way of thinking or your cognitive abilities. You know, mind you, this is your brain they're attacking. And none of the doctors, I have not found a doctor yet that will be willing to remove these devices. Right now, I have a substantial amount of evidence showing that their foreign bodies in my body with full intent to cause me harm.
Right.
Full intent. You know, it would cost me thousands and thousands of dollars to have these devices removed out of my body.
Right.
So they permanently mutilated my body. And like I said, this might cause me further harm, or, just in case I wind up going missing, or they shoot my heart to make me seem like I died of natural medical causes. Mind you, I've already lost 3 family members due to this human experimentation, all within the same year. And I know it was premeditated because with the subliminal messaging and the synthetic telepathy, they let me know. Just like the floodings in North Carolina, they got
So
me out of that area.
I got a question. So these people doing these scans know how to find it, but they don't know how to destroy it. It hasn't been found out how to destroy it yet.
You can cancel out frequencies with frequencies, but with these, through my extensive research, there is no shielding against these particle beam weapons and beam weapons. Now, I did find something a little while ago, researching the biblical aspect on it, because I believe the Bible is talking about this technology, that gold gives you some shielding from the radiation. Um,
And
so
silver does too.
yeah, but I think gold works a little bit more. NASA uses gold to reflect the radiation and protect their astronauts when they go up in space.
Right.
So there's something about gold that helps shield it. So wearing gold kind of gives you a little bit of protection. With the V2K, there's a frequency generator that I downloaded. You go to the triangle settings, which is a synthetic frequencies, and you will go through every frequencies until you hear complete silence. Once you hear
Right.
the complete silence, that blocks out your V2K. Um,
Yeah, I use handpan music.
yeah,
Now
there,
watch
there,
this, Maria. Maria, watch this. See, I got this Faraday hat. It's got silver lining fabric. See, I still hear V2K though, even with it. Now watch. You see it going off?
you're right.
All right, now hold on.
Oh wow.
You see that?
All right. Now I do know all these biosensors are Bluetooth accessible. That's why they need to hijack your cell phones, which is a cybersecurity breach as well, and complete invasion of your privacy. So I believe a Bluetooth jammer would help, and then a Wi-Fi or a GPS jammer. But I think a Bluetooth jammer, keeping it within a certain radius of you, will block out your biosensors from communicating
Yeah, see this
somewhat.
hat right here is it blocks Bluetooth, 5G and all that. Still hear V2K though, still get vibrated and stuff. However, there's a lot of waves and stuff that's damaging that we don't even know about. Then this blocks it. Now
All
it's not
right.
going to block your weapons attacks or nothing like this, but it will block like your Wi-Fi is dangerous. Everything in here lets off frequencies that's dangerous to you.
And this is another research that I've done. These particle beam weapons and these beam weapons, they have to have you a direct line of sight. So they have to be within 500 feet of you. And to hijack your Bluetooth and Wi-Fi device, they have to be within a certain radius of you to do so. So keep
What,
that
to
in
hit you
mind.
with weapons?
Right.
I mean, I was in 12 states in 6 months and was getting hit everywhere. I
I'm
went.
going to tell you, I worked in three different states, and my human terrain teams are within a 3 mile radius of me at all times.
Right. Well, there's many different weapons though too that people get attacked with.
This this is another thing I want to bring to people's attention that just came to my realization. So I've been one of the lucky ones to obtain work and keep employment, even though I have to switch jobs. All right. Once there are federal grants that they're offering these corporations and these hired contractors, mind you, they are paid contractors. They are meant to deceive you. I know within 2 weeks of getting hired on, once they get that federal funding from the Naval Credit Union or that federal grant, my targeting and attacks go like that. So
Right.
I mean, there is ways to track the money and those that are being contracted out. Because not only are they human trafficking us as victims, but all their employees as well, allowing them to be experimented on, which is without giving them full informed consent or giving an option or giving them a choice, they're taking it from them.
Wow.
Because as soon as they get the funding, they're experimenting on everyone.
Right.
You know, with the manipulation, the deception, the attacks. You know,
And they're trying to create a hive mind too.
right.
But that's for another day. But yeah.
Yeah, the Oracle.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the movie The Matrix was based off a DARPA documentary. That's why you see them all unplugging from the head. But it is called the Oracle, and they launched that this year, by the way.
Right. Well, I have
And
another interview in 30 minutes. Is there anything else you'd like to say? I really appreciate you coming out and sharing it. I hope it's not gonna mess your case up, is it?
no, because this case is for everyone. You
Oh,
know what I
okay.
mean?
All right.
I'm attaining this evidence for all of us. Because, you know, like I said, some of us aren't as lucky, don't have the fundings, don't have jobs, don't are homeless. You know, the evidence and research I'm obtaining is for all of us victims to prove the claims. And I hope that this reaches out to the general population. I hope this reaches out to the TIs that don't have evidence or are still battling out with their loved ones and their families that are participating in the program, that they could share this information and be like, look, this does exist.
Right.
This is happening. Um, as you can tell, I'm not crazy. I'm not mentally disturbed. I'm of sound mind. And this is the evidence that I've been blessed enough to obtain, although it does cost me financially, it does cost me physically. I'm sure I'm going to end up with extreme attacks after this for sharing this information. And these are very strong claims against how the government that we love and believe in is depriving us citizens of our own rights and attacking us.
Right. Because targeted individuals are not anti-government. We're not you know, we're not against the government, want to do anything to the government, nothing like that. We want justice. We realize we do, and target individuals do respect our soldiers who go and fight for us and stuff. The ones we don't respect is the ones higher up who are secretly tracking and doing all this. Because I'm convinced the soldiers that are going out and fighting for us, I have much respect for them for putting their life. They don't know nothing about this. Maybe some with higher clearance, but I'm just convinced, you know. But I just want to
No,
make that
they're
clear. Target individuals are not against government. We want to see the government, uh, look, it's a thin line what I say right here, but
this is our
you get what I
medical
say.
facilities and our government that sworn to protect human life and
Right,
the citizens of our country. And we are citizens of those countries. We're being denied proper medical treatment. We're being denied protection. These people are contracted out by our government to commit and organize crimes against us. And they need to abide by the same laws that were put in place for us. They're
right,
not above the law. They are humans just like we are. The only difference is, you know, they hired these perpetrators to commit these crimes, which is organized hired contractors. Some of these victims have ended up dead, murdered, or written off as natural medical causes when it was these weapons that killed them. You know, so I mean, there's need to be laws and regulations. And even though they hired these contractors to commit these crimes, it's a manipulation to pass laws that they want passed to take our freedom from us. And this is not right. I mean, somebody needs to govern their actions.
right. You said it better than me. Well, I thank you for coming out. I'm trying to think if there's anything else before we get off here.
I
Uh,
want to thank you and Holly again for everything that you guys do.
Well, thank you.
I really
Thank you.
do,
People don't
because
realize how stressful it is trying to get all this organized, and we're getting attacked, and then we get smear campaigns and have to go through all that, and all we're doing is trying to mind our business and help people, you know?
Right. And like I said, if it wasn't for Roy and your YouTube channels with these testimonies and the victims, you know, the general population's got to wake up and see what's going on. I mean, how is our government declaring war against other countries for the same crimes they're committing against us?
Right,
The Holocaust was a prime example of it. We are being experimented on until death occurs. We are being murdered in so many different ways of from technology and attacks that some of us victims will never recover from. Never.
right.
Never.
And we're not terrorists and we're not violent people. You know, matter of fact, I tell my TI community not to commit acts of violence. And I'm a big presser of that because it does no good. You can't win against these people. The best thing to do is find out ways to manage, deal with it. And that's what me and Holly do through spirituality, prayer,
You can't give me
hand
my
music,
family back. You
stuff
can't
like
give me
that.
my you can't give me my family back. You can't give me my health back, and you can't give me my time back. And those
Right,
were three things that you have stolen from me that without my not to mention the permanent damage to my body. It will cost me thousands and thousands of dollars to have these devices removed. If they stop attacking me tomorrow, I will still suffer long-term medical aspects of it. You know what I mean? And that, I mean, there's lives of victims. They're doing this to children.
right.
Human terrain teams contracted out, and these are grown adults doing this to children. I watched a video of a young girl that had more burn marks on her body than I did,
Wow.
all over her. I watched a 3-year-old child with devices in her eyes like mine.
Right,
3 years old. Her body hasn't even fully developed. And this program launches in all the schools. And if you don't believe me, it's the targeting program. Go read the Army's proposal on the STEM program that's launched in all the schools.
right. And the thing I was going to say before I ended this is anybody out here, all my prayer warriors out there, just keep Ryan in your prayers. We don't know what's happened to him.
He was sick.
He was sick. He did have cancer. He was suffering. But it's just weird that he dropped off the face of earth like that because I know he was in contact with Maria. And if Maria hasn't heard from him, then there's something seriously wrong. So keep him in your prayers. Ryan Mitchell's his name. And
Michelle.
Michelle, I don't know how you say it.
Ryan Michelle from Phoenix,
Okay.
Arizona.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, he may have died because my mother was diagnosed with cancer and died within 30 days.
Right.
Well, I
But
know
why wouldn't Maria, why
after we
wouldn't he
did the
hear?
after Todd 100% agreed to take her case pro bono, which he did. He's taken her case pro bono, you guys. June 6th of last year was the last time I heard from him, and in August everything came down.
Right. Website disappeared.
Phone number disappeared. Nobody's heard from him, seen
And
from
his
him.
website didn't come back up. So anyway, thank you, Maria. I'm gonna stop recording now.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.